Well, welcome everyone. So whether you're joining us live or watching the recording, we're really glad to have you here to learn about this fabulous Bordeaux River cruise on Avalon Waterways. We are Suzanne and Steve Klasen. We are owners of CruiseOne in Shoalo, Arizona. We're going to briefly introduce our agency. We're going to give you an introduction to Avalon Waterways because where you go is just as important as how you go. And we're going to let you know what makes Avalon so special. We'll talk about the Bordeaux River Cruise experience and talk about why Avalon is the best river cruise experience. We have exclusive promotional pricing through our agency, and then we'll have questions and answers. So if you're new to my agency, maybe you found us on YouTube or through our advertising, we want you to know that we are very customer focused. We are happy to do phone consultations, talk to you about your plans and dreams, because ultimately we want your vacation to be your dream vacation. Steve and I travel a lot. We're avid travelers. With the internet, as good as it is on cruise ships now, we are able to run our business from anywhere in the world. And we use our firsthand travel experience to deliver exceptional vacation experiences to our clients. I am an Avalon Waterways certified travel specialist. I also am certified with their two sister brands, Globus and Cosmos. Now, quality partners equals a quality experience. And this is why we partner with Avalon Waterways. They are the top rated river cruise line by the readers of Cruise Critic, or the Cruise Critic participants, members. And they are the 2022 USA Today best choice for river cruise lines. I love working with them. It's great to have a highly rated cruise line that I can explain and work with my customers and tell them know how the experience is going to be so elevated. So let's look about what's included with Avalon. You, of course, get 3 meals a day plus snacks. And a lot of the food is local favorites. So you're really having the feel of the place that you're sailing through. They have international wines complimentary with lunch and dinner. You have a choice of, oh, and I forgot to say, they now have a happy hour, 1 hour before dinner. They have complimentary drinks then. You get a choice of tours. Most are included. There's a few that are extra, but almost every port you have more than one tour to choose from that is included at no extra charge. They have the largest standard accommodations in the industry, so they give you that luxury of space. Of course, daily housekeeping. The cruise and tour managers stay with you through the whole experience, and they have local expert guides in every port. And now I have one of my favorite actors who's going to tell us a little bit.
There may be comfort in the usual, but true discovery and remarkable experiences are the rewards for the curious. They are the gifts that reside beyond the ordinary. Welcome aboard Avalon. Smaller ships, bigger experiences, fewer people, more of everything, right at your fingertips. And you wake up in the best staterooms in the business, to a new port every day, right in the heart of great cities, with nothing but possibilities ahead. Driven by out-of-the-box thinking and a relentless pursuit of better, Avalon heard the siren song to elevate cruising, and they have. So if you believe that life is worth living, not looking, memories are worth making, that better stories need better settings, and that we could all use a little different, you're ready for an Avalon cruise. Cruising elevated.
And of course, this actor, Graham McTavish, you may know him from The Hobbit, the Outlander series. He's their official spokesperson at Avalon Waterways. So Bonjour Bordeaux, we're going to have Chateaux, wineries, and charming villages. It really sets the standard for having that elevated. And that does look like Saint Emilion, Steve, that is behind you. It's very similar picture. The same picture. Okay. Well, let's take a look at the itinerary. So Bordeaux is basically located on an estuary where two rivers come together and they head towards the sea. So you can kind of see it's kind of a spoke and wheel itinerary. The nice thing about that is that you will get to spend several nights or evenings tied up in the city of Bordeaux. beautiful, charming town, you can get up and walk around and see things like this beautiful lit drawbridge that is a work of art. You can also see, let me change the page. This is sort of the famous public building here, and this fountain fills up, and at times it is a reflecting pool, and that building actually reflects onto them. This is a particular region of France called Nouveau Aquitaine, and it is absolutely renowned for its vineyards and wines. And we're going to talk to you a little bit about the places that this one goes. So one of the first places that this cruise goes is Cadillac and Sauternes. You'll visit the city of Cadillac and get to see the birthplace of a political philosopher who wrote, let me see, and it has a French name, and so I'm not even going to try to pronounce it, but he wrote a book called The Spirit of Law. There's also a fortress castle. There is a church in the town of Cadillac that one of the walls is actually the walls of the fortress. Is kind of interesting. And then for your discovery excursion, you're going to be able to visit a local chateau and sip on some of that sweet Sauternes wine. It is really a unique product. And you see in this picture, it shows the botrytis that actually raisins the grapes and concentrates the sugar. And that's how you get this beautiful Sauternes style wine. They have to have just the right weather conditions for that to happen naturally. We very much enjoyed our tour of that wine. And there are many wineries in the Sauternes region of Bordeaux that produce this lovely golden yellow wine. In Medoc, you can bicycle or have vines and wines. So there's a bicycle excursion where you get to ride through the vineyards, or you can do the discovery excursion where you're going to visit a chateau in the Medoc area and taste some of their wonderful wines. Merlot and Cabernet Sauvignon are going to be the primary grapes in that particular Medoc area. Then you get to visit this amazing citadel in Blaye, and it is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. They also have an optional tour that visits a local art gallery where you get to do some wine tasting as well. These are actually my own pictures in most part. I've tried to put my own pictures from the last time I was in Bordeaux into this presentation because I feel like having that authentic experience is what's important. In the afternoon, you do get a scenic sailing in the estuary area of the Dordogne. I can never say the names of these rivers, but it's basically the larger part of the river that kind of goes out into an estuary. It's very beautiful, and you see all kinds of fishing huts and beautiful buildings along the side of the river. It's a lovely scenic sailing experience that day. And then Saint Emilion, this might be my favorite region to drink the wine from. It also was the prettiest little village that we visited. It has a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and it's also known for its amazing landscapes. So the picture that you see behind me was actually taken in a chateau, a winery, where we got to do a full tour of the winery. We got to do wine tasting. We got to see the barrel room. It was amazing. And the little town is just so charming. I got this lovely picture of these little girls running around and playing. There's all kinds of cafes, a great place that if during your visit there, you want to stop and get a little charcuterie plate and a glass of wine, it can be a lovely experience. So we go to Saint Emilion, and we actually docked in a little village that's right next to it. And then they take us to Saint Emilion. It's maybe about 5 miles away. It's not very far from the river. And then we head back to Bordeaux. So we have some scenic sailing, and we overnight dock in Bordeaux. And then the next day, we get our full city tour of the city of Bordeaux. So the classic excursion is going to be a guided walking tour where you get to discover all these beautiful things like the artwork, the beautiful buildings, the churches, those kinds of things in Bordeaux, and it gets kind of a history of the area through our guide. And if you want to check out a bike from the cruise ship, you could take out a bike and bike along the promenade there. It's a lovely day spent in Bordeaux, and you get that guided tour, but there's going to be other opportunities to see the city of Bordeaux. And I liked Bordeaux so much because it had some of the beautiful architecture of Paris, but yet it felt like a hometown, like a small town, and everyone was so friendly and welcoming there. It didn't feel like we were in a big city. And that's probably what I love most about the city. And then the next day, they have a wonderful tour. And I recommend this even if you don't eat oysters, because they took us out to Arcachon Bay. And we got to, you could taste oysters if you like them. So this is a picture of me not eating oysters because I don't eat oysters, but I had wine and crackers. And we got to learn about in the 19th century how popular, or it might even be in the 18th century, it went kind of crazy. Everybody was wanting to eat oysters, and they almost overfished them to the point that they weren't sustainable. So they started these sustainable oyster farming practices in order to meet the demand for these. And this is about, I think, an hour and a half away from the city of Bordeaux. So you take a tour bus out to this area, and they give you, you get this full day tour, and then you go back to the ship and spend the night in Bordeaux again that night. So this is a look at the 7-night pricing. So pricing for the itinerary. Let's see. No, Steve told me that this slide is wrong, and I didn't correct it. You don't take $12.50 off these prices. These prices already include the $12.50 that we have as our promotional discount on this cruise. So as an added amenity, if you book our group, it includes free prepaid gratuities. Steve and I will be on the ship as your travel host, and we're going to have some private group events on board. Usually what we do is we have several of us buy some wines in town. They let you bring it back on town. And in one of those scenic sailing afternoons, we all share our different wines that we had and try different wines. We did that in the Douro with our group, and it was so much fun. And there actually is, if you're a single solo travel, there is a small allocation of single occupancy pricing available.
What are the prices for the cabin for two, right?
Yes, yes, that's, I believe you are correct. And it already has you're correct. And it already has the $12.50 off. Steve reviewed my presentation, and then I thought he already had updated. I didn't read what he said. He was telling me to update it. So I did not go in and update the slide. So I apologize, but these prices already include the discount. And this, yes, that's total for 2 people in the cabin for a 7-day cruise. Yes. Okay. So now we're going to talk about what makes Avalon so special to do on your river cruise. And first, if you're not familiar with river cruising, all of the river cruise ships are approximately the same size, but there's a big difference between cruise lines. They all have to fit through the same locks and bridges. So on the outside, they all kind of look the same, and it can be hard to differentiate. And I have a little video that kind of explains what makes Avalon so special.
The sweet ships of Avalon, designed from the ground up with an attention to detail river cruising has never seen before. There's nothing quite like river cruising no matter who you cruise with, but there are some pretty big differences between companies, starting with how they look at staterooms. And our one-of-a-kind panorama suite is proof of our innovation, our imagination, and our desire to create a smarter use of space. To give you some perspective of how much better our staterooms are, we're comparing them to the average river cruise cabin. Here's the average window, roughly 7 feet wide, with an opening under 4 feet. Here's our window, nearly 11 feet wide, floor to ceiling, wall to wall. And when it opens, it really opens, wide enough to let the outside in, because the opening is a full 7 feet, almost twice the size of the others. It's the largest standard window in river cruising. Now, let's take a look at the bed of the average cabin. It faces the wall, not much to look at there. We had a much better idea. What if we angled the wall and turned the bed? That little change gives you the perfect perspective of the amazing views out your window. We then turned our attention to the balcony. Here's the average river cruise balcony. Seems like a nice idea, but as far as we can tell, there's not a lot of room for people to enjoy the views out there. And they had to take space from your stateroom to create that small deck space outside. So here's our better idea. Reclaim that space, push the window out, add a spacious dining and seating area for up to 6 adults, combine it with the largest sliding glass door in the business, and voila, you have an open-air balcony, the only one of its kind in river cruising, and you can enjoy it day and night, no matter the weather. Plus, you'll enjoy a lot more livable space, a full 200 square feet. We gave our room an attention to detail unmatched in the industry. We offer comfort collection beds, plenty of easily accessible storage, and we even added sound dampening insulation in our walls to make it less likely you'll hear your neighbors or they'll hear you. And we didn't stop with the room. We turned that same attention to detail to the bathroom. We took a look at the bathroom of the average ship and we knew we could do better. By angling the wall, we opened up more space in the bathroom. Then we took our newfound space and we made it luxurious. We have a large tile shower with glass doors, marble countertops, premium fixtures, L'Occitane bath amenities, and shelves to store all your necessities. And the best part is that there aren't just a couple of these staterooms on our ships, reserved for those who want to pay more. 80% of the staterooms on our suite ships are panorama suites. And once you leave your suite, you're likely to find fewer people on our suite ships. Because with our bigger staterooms, there is less capacity for passengers, which means more space everywhere you go. As you can see, more has gone into the amazing panorama suites, so you can get so much more out of them. We invite you to compare, and you'll see there's no comparison.
I really do love that video because I feel like it really shows what the advantage is with Avalon and their beautiful staterooms. And another video, I'm just making sure this is not the same one.
The suite ships of Avalon, designed from the ground.
It's the same one. I don't know how that got duplicated. Sometimes that just happens. So let's look at the suites in Avalon and compare them to the leading competitor. You can see that the room is much larger. If you have a French balcony on the leading competitor, look at how tiny your bathroom is. And it's only about, I think, 170 square feet. And this interior on this one is about 170 square feet. This is a full 200 square feet. You have that indoor-outdoor flex space. Really makes for a wonderful experience. Now, if you look at this slide, this is our own room. We took this picture when we were in Budapest. We just absolutely loved it. I really, these are my favorite rooms. I really are. Full-size bath. Steve's kind of a bigger guy, and he said, those bathrooms are great because he fits in the shower. We've been on luxury cruise lines where they had, it was just an older style, and they had a full tub and a little stall shower. The shower was smaller than this one. So this is a very nice full-size bathroom. You can easily have 2 people in there. They do have fixed window cabins that are down on deck 1. And those are a great option for solo travelers or people who are traveling on a little bit more limited budget. You do still have a generous amount of square feet in those rooms. You just don't have the panoramic window that opens up. A couple other features that they have on their ships are the aft beverage center, the snack center, and the observation club lounge on the back of the ship. I like this area because you can sit back there. This is one area where we had not such good weather and we were doing our group wine tasting and there was nobody back here. So we just came back here and enjoyed our wine together. It was a lovely experience. The panorama lounge is the larger lounge that's up front. And you can see it has floor to ceiling, wall to wall windows. This is where you can be indoors and really enjoy the views of the river and the views along the river. The ship has a nicely equipped gym. But weather permitting, I think it's kind of nice to go up on the track on the top and walk if you just want to get some cardio. The main dining room has open seating. It's open usually at about like 7 o'clock, depending on the port schedule. It could be a little bit different, but people usually tend to dine as soon as it opens. So essentially dining is at 7 o'clock. And you're free to come anytime during those hours, but generally it's going to be full from 7 to 9 because everybody is eating and enjoying. There's also a panorama bistro that's also open during dining hours. And there's a picture of snack time in that panorama bistro. they serve the same food that they serve downstairs, but just smaller portions. So if you want to try 2 or 3 things and dine in a little bit more quiet, more relaxed setting, the Panorama Bistro is a good option. So let's talk about another thing that sets Avalon apart is the tours that they include. So they are going to include 3 different kinds of tours in most ports. Sometimes they only include 1 or 2, but in a lot of them, they have a choice of tours. And I'll show you what the difference is. So the classic one is going to be your destination highlights. I switched out these slides for from stock photos to my own photos. This was our classic tour of Budapest. We went to see the hill. We got to see all the lovely architecture. But then later that afternoon, we did a discovery tour. This one, because it was outside of town and this was not a wine-themed cruise, there was a charge for. But most of the time when you are on a wine-themed cruise, which Bordeaux is, you visit these wineries and there is no charge for those tours. And this is an example of an active tour. So we hiked up to the top of this castle in Dürnstein to enjoy the beautiful panoramic views from up there. We talked a little bit about the dining. You can be seated anytime between 7 and 8:30. Essentially, everyone goes at 7, but you do have the more relaxed atmosphere of the fresco grill. They usually will have 1 day, weather permitting, where they serve lunch up there. Then they have the panoramic bistro, which again is a little bit more casual dining. Avalon also has a program called Avalon Fresh, where they have fresh, healthy, local ingredients. They have really set out to source this food locally and try to make the meals represent the local food and the local culture. Here's some examples of some dishes we had. We had a savory pumpkin strudel, Wiener Schnitzel in Vienna. We also had a vegetarian take on Hungarian cabbage rolls. So they really try to fit the meal into the itinerary. So I know we're going to have a lot of wonderful French specialties on this trip through Bordeaux. When we arrived in Bavaria, we had a Bavarian lunch. So all throughout these different parts of Bordeaux, we're going to have local specialties, which is what I like about Avalon. They really bring that local culture on board. They have the complimentary happy hour. So in addition to beer and wine with breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you can have champagne with breakfast, but with lunch and dinner, you get complimentary beer and wine. They also have this happy hour, which is kind of nice because it gets you ready, relaxed. You get to listen to the cruise manager talking about the different parts of the cruise and what we'll be doing the next day while you're relaxing and having a wonderful, wonderful, enjoyable drink. And again, here's another picture of Bordeaux. And then I'm going to switch over to the next slide. Again, there is an error on this slide. Steve and I had a miscommunication. I thought he had already removed it, and I did not. So just ignore the take the $12.50. These prices already have that $12.50 off of them. But we do have a special promotion just for people who are watching this webinar. And if you book by September 27th, you are going to get another $100 per person savings off the prices that you see here. So take $200 off it, and that's the savings on the cabin total. Just to kind of show you where else Avalon goes. These are all the rivers in Europe where they're sailing. We've done a couple of these. They're really wonderful. And air. You can choose to do your air through Avalon's air program. You choose the routing and the carrier and the price that best meets your need. When you book the air on brochure dates, that means you're arriving on embarkation date, departing on debarkation date, they do include your arrival transfers. Otherwise, it's pretty inexpensive to add them to your reservation if you're arriving at a different time. Or if you book air not through Avalon, you can add the transfers. You can book the air 11 months before the cruise. So that's going to be like end of December, beginning of January. You'll be able to get a real price on air. They do an additional deposit to secure the air reservation, and you pay in full for the air with your final payment. Now, we have a lot of group cruises that we do, and we want to let people know about some of those as well. We have these exciting see the world from your doorstep with Holland America. These are extensive cruises with no long flights overseas, and we specialize in that. We're also doing a wonderful, affordable 7-day round trip Reykjavik cruise with Celebrity Cruises. And then in 2025 and 2026, we've got some escorted river cruises in addition to this one. We've got one that's Gems of Southeast Europe. And so what Steve and I are doing is we're doing the Bordeaux cruise, and then we're going to fly to Budapest and then do the Danube cruise, the Southeastern Europe Danube cruise. There's a couple days in between, and we're going to spend that in Bordeaux and in Budapest. We think that doing them both is great. We just don't want to fly over to Europe for a 7-day cruise. So we like to do the longer itineraries. That way we can make that flight time worthwhile. Do 2 things while you're in Europe. We've got Scandinavian capitals on Holland America in May of 2026. And in 2026 in the wintertime, we have 2 ways that you can see Antarctica. We have a scenic sailing cruise only with Celebrity. And then on the Greg Mortimer with Aurora Expeditions, we just recorded a webinar on September 11th. So if you go to our YouTube page, you can see that webinar for the Aurora Expeditions cruise as well. And then finally, we have our Caribbean, actually not finally, I have a couple more. We have our Caribbean Wine Lovers Cruise in March of 2026. Eric Allen of Ascension Cellars will be bringing his wines on board to do a wonderful wine tasting group cruise. We're super excited. This is our 2nd time to pair with him and our 5th time to work with this winery. So we are super excited about that. Holland America is also doing some solar eclipse cruises. So we have some special pricing on some of those itineraries for folks that are interested. Those are going to be an amazing way to see the solar eclipse. And then new in 2026, the Windstar Legend. We are doing the Aegean Sea Odyssey with the Corinth Canal. The Windstar Legend is one of the few ships that can fit through the Corinth Canal. And you're going to see all these wonderful ports in Greece as well. So back to my summary, book your next Avalon cruise with us. By September 27th, 2024, you'll get that additional $100 per person discount for any new Avalon Waterways cruise just for attending this event. So we'd love to have you join us. It's going to be a fantastic cruise, and we're going to reward you with that additional $100 discount. So now I want to open up to any questions anybody might have. Please go ahead and unmute yourself and let us know if there's anything you have questions about. All right. Well, it looks like, do we have a question?
No, I was going to get some more information about that cruise on the Rhine when you get a chance. When more information.
Yeah, let me go back to that slide real quick.
And going up to Lake Como.
Yeah, so let me go back to that slide real quick. It's with Avalon.
I've not seen that before.
Yeah, that is one that we just took out the group on.
Released.
It's going to be in April of 2026. It's Amsterdam to Basel, and then it'll include an extension in Lucerne and Lake Como. So again, a very nice cruise. We're going to be hosting a webinar on that on November 7th.
I'll wait for that.
Yeah, we haven't put that out in email or like that yet, but we will, and you'll have a chance to register and come to it.
Yeah. And again, the Sweet Ships of Avalon, you'll have a very similar ship to what I showed you in that video for that Avalon Waterways cruise on the Rhine.
Another quick question.
Right. Yeah,
sure. Are the onboard credits not the same thing on these as they are on the big company ocean liners? Or I don't see you mentioning any of those.
Yeah, so we do have prepaid gratuities, but generally the onboard credit it's not part of the promotion because so much is included already. Your tours are included, your beer and wine with meals and the happy hour is already included. If they gave you a whole bunch of onboard credit, you would have trouble spending it. So that's something that a lot of the ocean cruises do because they're giving that to you to spend on your shore excursions. or upgrading your beverage package.
Okay.
Avalon is just keeps it simple. So it's not a big important thing, especially
fine.
when we have the free prepaid gratuities on there already.
That's fine.
If you do get a drink, they're reasonably priced. They're not, jacked up like some of the ocean going ones are outside of the free times.
All right. Well, thank you for asking questions. We're glad you came to our event, and or if you're watching it on video. Here's how to contact us if you are interested in booking any of the cruises that you've seen here. Bordeaux is going to be spectacular. It's hard to capture what's so charming about it in just those few slides that I had, but every day you're going to be going off the ship, seeing a beautiful historic village, and then visiting a wonderful winery and getting to do tastings. I mean, nearly every day. I think the day you do the tour of Bordeaux does not include a winery, but almost every other day it includes some sort of wine tasting experience. And like I said, they have local wines on board. So we're going to get to try a lot of the regional wines just on the ship in the happy hour or at dinner. And of course, at the end of your tour, you can buy wine and they let you bring it back on the ship. They're not as picky as the cruise lines, the ocean cruise lines about, no, you can't bring anything on. So it's going to be a wonderful, immersive wine lovers experience. And you really get to see some of the finest areas of Bordeaux that are producing some of the finest wines in the world. So thanks again for coming. Steve, you want to go ahead and end the recording there?